Anyone that I think would really say that the red pill, I would consider like basically probably all of them, because I think the main tenet of red pill, like obviously you are not red pilled, so like you wouldn't be the one that was saying this, but like the main tenet generally of like red pill community is kind of completely surrounded by the concept that they do hate women, or that they not necessarily hate them, but maybe we'll be a little bit more careful with my wording, that they think they're less than. And to me, I would assume that would be, kind of akin to that. I don't know if that makes any difference to you, but I would say anyone that would define themselves as red pill, like Alec Manastian, for example, like he obviously fucking um, he hated women, like just straight up. Like it's pretty nuts in that way that I don't think anyone could say that they were red pill and like unironically, obviously. Sometimes I say a red pill just because it's funny, but like unironically, like say like red pill and don't actually legitimately fucking hate women.
Yeah, I think that's a really wild claim. So you're basically saying
Okay,
100% of people that identify as red pill hate women. I think the real number is like
because but I think
closer to
like
like 10% or something like that, 5 or 10%. It is not even 50%. I think most guys, and I interact with a lot of these guys who are red pillars, most of them, they don't hate women. They may be a little confused. They're not sure what they're doing, but they don't despise women. They don't have contempt for women. Now, in terms of what you said, they think that women is less than. That's not actually, I'm going to steal man in the position. That's not what they believe. They just believe that men and women are, have different strengths and weaknesses, which I think is a statement of fact. On average, women are better with social types of situations, which is why you see a lot of women, in HR departments, right? And this has been scientifically proven. Women have more gray matter in their brain, which is responsible for more social things, right? Women have better, on average, have better social intuition, social skills than men, right? On average, and there's some strengths that men have, like physically, for example. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm just have a way more
well,
advanced when it
you're
comes to.
going a little bit off into a tangent here. I just
Well,
gotta cut
let,
you off
let,
for a little
let, let
bit
me
here.
just finish. I just want to make a point that we have different
Okay,
strengths and
okay.
weaknesses. So when it comes to like construction, like any man is going to have you beat. So that's what they're saying. They're just saying that
But
men
that's
and
not
women
what they're
are the
saying,
same.
dude.
So give me
That's
an
not.
example of how that's wrong.
Well, no, I'm saying the red pill ideology in itself is literally just like women hate, like by its core. It's like saying that, oh, you can't be or like, oh, well, Nazis have other idea, like, but they don't hate Jew. Like, no, stop. Like,
Well,
the
give me one
main
specific
tenet of
example. Give
what
me
do you
one
mean?
specific
What of what?
of how popular red pillars hating women. Give me one specific example of something they said.
Popular red pill hating women, fresh and fit, everything that he says, fucking Andrew
What
Tate, everything that he says.
Okay. What is one thing that Andrew Tate has said that indicates that he hates women?
That the only reason that he even has sex, like he doesn't even enjoy sex, but he only uses them as property, that he feels like that he owns them. Would you want me to say specifically that he hates women? That
I've
he
never,
feels like
I've never heard that quote.
he specifically said that all women are dumb. He would like say that you can just like you should be able to steal from them because they're really stupid. They're not going to notice. Like
Can you pull up these quotes specifically? I've never heard any of that, and I've watched a lot of
these
Andrew Tate.
quotes specifically. I
What,
mean, I
what,
can
what
show
I've
you a
heard
video of
Andrew
that.
Tate say is, "I love women. Women are great. I think they're different
Okay,
than
so
men, but
that's the
I think
extent of
they're
your
equally as
analysis.
valuable. I think they add massive amounts of value. I think we need women. Men are better with women. Women are better with men. So that's what I've
Yeah.
heard."
Okay. So how are you going to say that if he also just, I mean, he thinks that they're property. He straight up said that. You know that, right?
He said what?
That women are property.
I've never heard him say that. But the
I'm
question is,
just curious.
did he say that? Well, I'm not like an Andrew Tate fanboy, but the question is, did he say that with
I watched the debate
because
of you
he does a
defending
lot of
it.
trolling. He does a lot of trolling. And was that a serious statement that he said? Like, I would need to
Yeah,
see the
it was
context.
actually behind. You know, you used to have Hustlers University.
I've never been in it, so I'm not familiar with
No, no,
that.
no. Just that he had it, right?
Yeah. Hustle's University.
Yeah. So you know what it was? It was a lot of it was like exclusive content that you weren't able to see directly. I can send you this.
My chat right now is saying
Not
he
going to
never
be that
said that.
interesting.
My chat keeps saying that he never said that.
Of course, your chat's going to say that.
Well, no, my
You,
chat is
you
not
don't get
really
the
red pill.
context or what?
No, my chat will go after red pillars all the time. I make fun of red pillars all the time.
That's
It
fine.
just seems like he didn't say that. I don't know. I mean, maybe he said something I haven't seen.
Yeah, he said that like where he was saying that. Here, I can link you. I don't know why this is the only place I can find it. It's somebody else reacting to it. but he has talked about like literally stealing taxes basically from them. They have no idea what
Yeah,
they're
yeah, the
talking
stealing
about. All of
taxes
them
I've
are
seen.
dumb.
But is he stealing taxes from them just because he's a greedy
No,
capitalist?
he would still no. I'm sorry. He would steal from them and say it's for taxes. So he would like lie to them, and then he would say
Sure,
that
I'm familiar with that
oh yeah,
part.
women are
Right, but
like. I posted it in the chat. It's a 30-minute video. I'm not sure that we're
but
gonna
you
want to
can
watch it right
steal.
now, but I'm telling you, I'm not lying
Sure, but
about what I'm saying.
you can steal from people of both genders. He was primarily working with women. So the question is
Yeah,
again,
but
was he
his
stealing from
main
them because they're
statement was
tricked?
that women are dumb because they're not gonna know what the fuck I'm doing. They'll just sign whatever. I'll just like lie to them and then they'll believe me. So they're really dumb. Like obviously that's
Well,
really
now,
stupid.
hang on, guys. Let me cut in for just a second, so that you understand, Alex. I think one of the main points of delineation is Nina actually believes in gender abolition. She doesn't think that
That is true.
there's any actual distinct differences between men and women at all.
Wait, what? Really?
That's correct.
In terms
What?
of like I know Andrew's not gonna be charitable, but yeah, I mean he's right. Like I generally don't think that there is a significant difference between men and women. I think that we're just socialized differently, which that is obviously a difference, of course, right? So I don't necessarily think that there is a distinct difference that we should treat people like. I think like you should really have relationships with women as friends and look at them the same way that you would look at your homies.
What?
What are you confused about?
Is
Somebody
that
like stapling something in your background? I'm sorry.
my roommate is cooking my meal. So
Okay.
okay, there's so much for us to explore here. Okay, let me write down the homies thing because
It's like,
there's a lot to
oh,
get through here. Let's really quickly touch on the gender abolition, then we'll touch on the homies thing, and then we'll go back
mhm.
to the hating women thing. Okay, you will agree that there's physical differences between men and women, right?
Of course. That'd be silly if I didn't say that.
Okay. How familiar are you with the effects of testosterone?
As long as we're not going into like some hyperchemistry, I am very familiar. I'm very pro trans, and obviously that kind of makes me have to learn about that type of stuff.
Yeah, well, testosterone is like how it can have a massive impact on your brain chemistry. So, for example, quite often they give it to guys who are like depressed, right? Who are very anxious. I'm personally on TRT and I had very low testosterone. I can tell you I had this baseline of anxiety, got on testosterone, that went away, right? It fundamentally changes your brain chemistry. If you overdo it, it makes you angry, aggressive, blah, blah, blah. So, by default, the fact that men have 100 times more testosterone than women, then our brain chemistry has to be different, right?
Well, sure. I mean, like any sort of like a hormonal balance would imply that. I don't really feel like that's.
So,
What are
so
you
the
talking
men
about?
and women are not the same.
Okay, well, you're not the same as somebody else that's not taking HRT too. Like, what do you mean?
On average, men are quite fundamentally different than women because men have 100 or 1,000 times more testosterone than women, and testosterone affects how your brain
Okay, but
works.
you only have as much testosterone as you have now because you're taking it.
But even if I wasn't, I still, naturally speaking, women have a fraction of testosterone that men do.
Sure, I'm not arguing that, but
It's like the difference isn't like 50%, it's like 100x.
okay, so
So if testosterone has such a strong effect on your brain chemistry and men naturally have way more than women, then that has to be reflective in the fact that we are on average very different.
yes, I don't think anyone's trying to say that you don't have more testosterone. That's very silly. My point in saying like men and women are not that much different is because I don't know if you know that fucking like seam that you have on your balls. I assume that you have. I just have seen it multiple times on other people.
On my balls? What?
Are you serious?
Well,
I don't want to be weird about this.
No, you're good. Are you like, how do you know about my balls? I'm just curious.
No, just all men have that.
Okay, I see him on the balls. Okay, keep going.
Do you understand what I'm talking about when I say that?
No, I'm a little lost.
Okay, never mind. That's maybe gonna sound really fucking weird then.
No,
Anyways,
go
the
ahead. I'm
idea-
curious. You got me curious now. Go ahead. Tell me about my balls.
Anyways, the idea I've not seen your balls. I don't think at least. But
All right, Andrew, I'm gonna have to show my balls really
no,
quickly.
please don't. Please don't. I know it's on Rumble, but I'm on Twitch, so please don't. But like the idea of that is basically the reason why I wanted to mention that was that we're kind of designed inversely from each other if we're talking about our sex organs. Like we really like are very similar in the way that we're just inverse. Like your testicles are my ovaries, you know, your dick is like the vaginal canal. Like all of that is like if certain hormone washes would have happened the other way, you could have been the exact like we're just like mirrors of each other, right? Which I think is actually really cool. But that's what I'm saying. When we're not even that physically different, we just, as you correctly pointed out, we do have different hormones that are generally part of our development. And especially when you're in the womb, like the way that it tends to go, it's just depending on the hormone washer that happens in the womb that you decide to even be a XX or XY or whatever. So why would we think that even though we're so similar physically in a lot of ways, even though we're inversed, we're incredibly similar, that why would we treat each other as being so diametrically different that we can't have that we can't understand each other as being like I don't like the idea that we do this a lot with gender, is like thinking that somebody's so different. You know what I mean? Like oh, women are like this like monolith of like strangers that we don't understand the concept of. Like I feel like I'm rambling, but go ahead.
The question is, like, when you say so different, how so are we talking about? I mean, women are not aliens. We're the same species. We have massive amount of overlap. 99% of our DNA is the same, but we also have some fundamental differences, which is much more so than, for example, race, right? Like me and a black guy my age have more in common than me and you, right? Assuming we grew up in like a similar type of environment. So yeah, there are some
socially
differences.
Or physically?
Both, just in terms of how our brains work and what we want and just all of that, our dating strategy, our mating strategy, just everything. So, I mean, I don't think it's like women are from like Mars or something like that. I mean, I think like, yeah, like fucking one of my best friends is my girlfriend, right? But, there are some fundamental differences and we can't ignore those, and just ignoring those isn't doing anyone any favors. So the hormone one is one that I like to bring up because I think it's a very simple one a lot of people can understand. But we also just have different, like our brains are like fundamentally different to some extent. They've done MRI scans of male brains and female brains, and they found there's definitely some like fundamental differences. Again, is it 500%? No, but 20-30% can make a difference. So yeah, I mean, I don't think the solution is to ignore the differences. By the way, what I'm not saying is that, we should limit women, like women wants to do something that's masculine, we should tell her no. I'm not saying any of that. I just think we should be, cognizant of reality. And that's basically what I'm talking about here.
Okay. So I don't understand why you brought up the race conversation, because if we're going to go on that way, there's actually more genetic differences between like, differences between like even like certain areas in Africa, like people like in Africa, like having a more severe difference genetically than they would with like just like a white person or whatever. Like they're like, it doesn't really matter in that. Hopefully that made sense in the way I'm phrasing it. But my point is that I think that your pickup artistry type of thing, like if we're gonna go into that a little bit, it really treats women as being like so insanely different that you have to do this like script to like understand how they are, or like that you can't just like talk to them as a normal human being. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes and no. I mean, first of all, I don't think that's what I teach at all. But they are
no, I'm not saying you. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
Like one example, for example, is if you were to go up to guys and say, "Hey, you're really cute. Do you want to go home with me?" A lot of guys would really, really appreciate it. I'd be like, "Oh my god, this chick is the best," right? Like you're like, "Hey, do you want to go back with me and just?" You
wouldn't think that she's gonna murder you?
No, I think most guys would be really cool with that. And they've done some social experiments where they've tested that, and like literally 50% of guys said yes. Like,
crazy.
Versus if, as a guy, I make that my strategy, that's going to work. That's not going to be effective. Okay. A lot of girls are not going to be about that. Even girls who are physically attracted to me. So yes, we are different in how we socialize and the kind of stuff that will work. So I can't take, this is the problem I think a lot of red pillars get into. They take stuff that they want and they project it onto women. But in some ways, women are different, and you can't take the stuff that would sit well with you and just assume it's going to sit well with a woman.